Brandis, former Chicago Bears head coach Lovie Smith has reportedly been named the new coach of the Houston Texans. This news comes as the NFL is facing fallout over a lawsuit accusing it of racial discrimination in hiring amid other explosive allegations. The lawsuit was filed by former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores, who was recently fired by the team. Flores explained to CNN's Don Lemon why he felt he had to blow the whistle.
The system is broken in the National Football League in regards to hiring minorities and black coaches, head coaches, and people in positions of power. And I'm doing it because I think about my two boys and my daughter. And there just simply isn't enough representation of people who look like them in head coaching roles, in general manager roles, in executive and president roles in the National Football League.
And joining us now with more are James Big Cat Williams, former offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears, and Xavier Pope, owner of the Pope Law Firm, host of Suit Up News, and contributor to ESPN Las Vegas. Welcome both of you back to Chicago tonight. James Big Cat Williams, I'll start with you. Your reaction to this bombshell lawsuit from Brian Flores, who is a highly sought-after head coaching candidate.
Surprised. You know, when the news first came out, when they first started talking about it, I was very surprised, but very optimistic. You know, just the fact that someone was going to come outside of their comfort level, knowing that this could, you know, nullify the rest of their NFL coaching career, but felt strongly enough to come out and put his foot down and, you know, say enough is enough, and, you know, we'll just have to see how it goes.
And Xavier Pope, there are two big allegations here. One, racial discrimination in the hiring of head coaches, and then this allegation of alleged bribery to tank games. So starting with that first one, what would have to be shown here in a court of law to prove that indeed there is racial discrimination in NFL hiring practice when you look at the fact that so few NFL head coaches are of color?
Yeah, there's multiple causes of action that amount to racial discrimination among the multiple teams in the National Football League. There needs to be shown some sort of discriminatory intent that has led to the statistics being so low across the board in terms of the hiring of NFL teams. But I think the big part about that, though, is instead of looking at the likelihood of success, is the likelihood of the NFL wanting any court to look at its discovery of documents, emails that NFL owners have said about players, about coaches, about how the league does its business. I mean, we've seen this Washington football team investigation that the NFL refuses to make largely public that led to a head coach losing his job in John Gruden with the Las Vegas Raiders. So what else does the NFL has under wraps that speaks to its diversity and its problems with diversity? So getting Brian Flores, having a text message from Bill Belichick that maybe has knowledge of what another team's hiring practices is, could potentially get him to pass a summary judgment motion by the NFL and any of its teams and get to a discovery phase. And that could potentially lead to a settlement. I think that that's probably the most effective way to analyze where this case potentially could go.
Maybe the likeliest avenue. Speaking of the NFL, initially they said that Flores' claims, quote, lacked merit, or they didn't have any merit. A few days later, they cleaned that up. Commissioner Roger Goodell said that the league's record on hiring black head coaches was, quote, unacceptable. Big Cat Williams, how do players and ex-players view the power structure in the NFL?
I think as an ex-player, I'm shocked. The people are shocked. You know, this isn't the first time that this has rolled around. This is every 2 to 3 year subject that pops up and nothing changes. So hopefully with this lawsuit being out there and other people having the opportunity to put their names on this lawsuit to make it a lot bigger than it is right now, hopefully it will affect some change. Now, I don't know what that change is, and I don't know how you go about getting that change, but there has to be some change.
And clearly the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell agrees that there has to be change. Xavier Pope, it's not that just that so few NFL head coaches are non-white, but the allegation is also that non-white head coaches do not get the same latitude. They get fired quicker, like Flores did. Is there evidence to support that?
Steve Wilkes, former coach of the Arizona Cardinals, given a lame duck quarterback, Josh Rosen, has one season, gets fired after that season. We see just now with David Culley given a Houston Texans franchise. We know that Lovie Smith's getting that job, but David Culley on the other side, not really having the opportunity to run that ball club successfully. When you see retreads over and over, the Houston Texans even hired Lovie because they were going to put Josh McCown, who had no head coaching experience. They wanted to hire him last year. They were really strongly thinking about hiring him this year. And so lawsuits sometimes change results. Big Cat, he was a result, benefited from the league. Reggie White, suing the National Football League for free agency. And then Johnny Cochran suing to get the Rooney Rule in place right there in the first place. So lawsuits move along and make things happen in the National Football League. And that's just what it's all about.
And I want to pick up on that Rooney Rule, and that's the rule that teams have to interview at least 2 coaching candidates of color before they make a hire. Big Cat Williams, why hasn't that worked to increase diversity among head coaches?
In my opinion, it's just a box for them to check now. They can bring a couple minority coaches in, say we talked to them, and check that box. And in their opinion, that makes everything okay. Things aren't going to change as far as the Rooney Rule goes until the higher ups make a decision to make changes, the people that own the organizations. And, right now, it's a good old boys club. And those are the people that are invited into the club.
And the other bombshell in this lawsuit by Brian Flores is that his former owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, offered him $100,000 per loss if he would tank the season so they could get a higher draft pick. Let's take a look at that.
To hear that, to disrespect the game that I love, that's done so much for me, that was appalling to me, and I wouldn't stand for it. But that's I would say that's not as unfortunately, it's more common than you think.
Xavier Pope, you always hear coaches saying we play to win, we don't play to get a higher draft pick. So how common do you think this could be?
That remains to be seen. I know a lot of fans talk about wanting their teams to tank, and we see tank discussion every single year. But the NFL stayed far away as it could from gaming. Then in the last 3 years have started relationships with gaming companies and casinos, and then bringing a team to Las Vegas. It brings the integrity of NFL games under a serious scrutiny if you have teams that are wanting to paying their coaches to lose games, particularly with the value of fans' seats. And it creates another set of legal challenges for the National Football League if this has any semblance of being true.
Especially, as you mentioned, gambling now has become such a multi-billion-dollar industry here. It's great to see both of you. Great conversation. We'll have to leave it there. Our thanks to James Big Cat Williams and Xavier Pope.
Thanks, Bears.
Thank you.
Xavier.